Damn it, internet. Why do you gotta be so creepy sometimes? There's that one film that helps establish the studio as its standard. The one movie that sets the tone and style of what they will try to accomplish. For Disney, it was Snow White. For Pixar, it was Toy Story. When it comes to DreamWorks, even after 20 years they've been around, they're still having a hard time figuring that out. Recent attempts at trying to go for big epic spectacles that vary from Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. But then they go back to the typical, let's see how much star power and jokes you can stuff into one film and hope we can turn it into a franchise that will keep knocking on death's door. Unfortunately, there's a film we can blame for the success of that model. It's not just a personal favorite, but has recently become a cult craze on the internet that varies from freaking hilarious to freaking weird. Today's movie made us believe that we could take Mike Myers' fat bastard character and finally turn him into a cartoon. Interesting enough, the film would spawn countless followers and become a trendsetter was not intended to be as successful as it was. At the time, Katzenberg would have people work on this film as a last resort, focusing more attention on their 2D animated films. The film has gone through so many rewrites that at one point J.J. Abrams was going to incorporate motion capture and the lead role was designed for Chris Farley as opposed to Mike Myers. Knowing this makes me wish that there was an animated version of Tommy Boy where Tommy Boy lives in a swamp far, far away with his talking ass, as voiced by David Spade. Our movie begins, and the first 5 minutes set the film's tone.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
That's pretty much the movie we have. Fairy tales, occasional toilet humor, Disney parodies. You get the gist. Thanks for watching.
And then I saw her face.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Shrek is our hero who shares just as much as common with the character he's based on as does Andrew Garfield to Peter Parker. He's a not-so-mean green farting machine who prefers downtime to himself when he isn't being harassed by angry mobs. Suddenly his way of life is threatened by dozens of fairy tale creatures. Yeah, you heard that last part right. This is a medieval setting inhabited by fictional characters that mostly are characters adapted by Disney.
5 shillings for the possessed toy. Take it away.
As most animation dorks know, the ex-CEO of Disney Animation, Jeffrey Katzenberg, is a co-founder of DreamWorks Animation. However, when you see this movie as a clear jab, other times they're taking the same tropes and cliches, which we'll discuss later.
All right, get out of here! All of you, move it! Come on, let's go! Hapaya, hapaya!
Over a decade later, and I still don't understand what he's saying.
Hapaya, hapaya!
Shrek notices something's wrong when all the fairy tale creatures are dumped on his property as part of an eviction from their homes by the local lordship. Lord Farquhar sends off all the fairy tale creatures for little to no reason other than that he don't like them. That's as much reason as we get, but on the plus side we get a funny gag of seeing the 6-foot-tall actor John Lithgow voice the tiny Lord Farquhar. You'll notice as the film goes on that the humor varies from jokes you see a mile away to subtle touches a select few might get. Jokes like these have more appreciation than simply stating the obvious.
So, that must be Lord Farquaad's castle.
That's the place.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
It is better that this joke requires you to think as opposed to Shrek simply saying, "Hey donkey, he's got a huge castle to make up for his tiny junk." So Shrek travels to the castle of Lord Farquaad accompanied by one of Eddie Murphy's best suited roles as the talking ass simply named Donkey.
Oh, this is gonna be fun! We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
He's a non-stop pop culture spewing loud caricature that offsets Shrek's more introverted personality. It's definitely not original, but enjoyable to see these characters strike a bond. Farquaad sends Shrek on a quest to do his chores for him. He learns at the magic mirror from Snow White that in order to become a king, he needs to marry a princess. Through some more pop culture gags and Disney riffs, we discover Princess Fiona locked in a tower and guarded by a fire-breathing dragon.
All I have to do is just find someone.
But I probably should mention the little thing that happens at night.
I'll do it.
Yes, but after sunset.
Silence!
Isn't it great that the mirror would now decide to try and tell the prince a warning despite missing that opportunity when describing her during his pseudo-dating game spiel?
Silence!
Donkey and Shrek go to the next level and find their princess in another castle. They rescue Princess Fiona through a pretty good sequence filled with action, jokes, and legitimately funny dialogue.
Sir Shrek, I pray that you take this favor as a token of my gratitude.
Thanks.
However, is it just me or does this scene constantly make me think about the Little Rascals? While it's revealed that Shrek is no more an ogre than a suave prince, we enter another movie cliché where the polar opposites begin to fall for one another. Kinda coincidental that we both have these opposites attract while we have another set of opposites attracting with Shrek and Donkey. This cultivates into a secret curse that for most people watching the film would have picked up early on, which is that she is an ogre at night. And of course, it's true love's kiss that can break the spell. This is revealed in a mill that's made of a pirate ship for some reason. If the opposites attracting cliché wasn't enough, we get a classic misunderstanding that could have been cleared up if Fiona would have outright told Shrek her secret.
You don't have to tell me anything, Princess. I heard enough last night.
You heard what I said?
Every word. Like you said, who could love a hideous, ugly beast?
To me, this is the one part of the film that works against it. First of all, there's no reason for her to feel annoyed that Shrek couldn't keep a secret. In fact, it should make him feel relieved that there's another ogre he could spend time with if she did or didn't happen to marry Farquaad. Also, it makes no sense for Shrek to assume what he did during a disjointed conversation he heard from the other side of a door.
I mean, really? Who could ever love a beast so hideous and ugly? And princess and ugly don't go together. That's why I can't stay here with Shrek.
Of course she's talking about you. Why else would you assume otherwise? It just makes the scene feel forced into providing extra drama which we don't need to see. It just leads to extra running time, Alleluia not sung by Rufus Wainwright, and a fight for Fiona. However, and this is a big however, the fight at the end is a lot of fun to watch. Fiona reveals her true form, Farquaad is taken care of, Shrek breaks the curse in a scene I'm not sure is celebrating Beauty and the Beast or making fun of it, but either way, doesn't this line make you choke up when you hear it?
But I don't understand. I'm supposed to be beautiful.
But you are beautiful.
Just the way you are. And Shrek and Fiona share a scene that's the closest thing from the original book, where both monsters live happily ever after. Or at least until the sequels get made. While the film has its share of cliches, I can't say I hate this film. In fact, I do think this movie gets the praise it deserved when it first came out. As mentioned before, this was a film with a production so convoluted that it's actually a miracle it turned out to be as good as it was. Shrek, in some ways, is also the closest to a true DreamWorks film that showcased people's expectations from a studio created by Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen. It has plenty of those crowd-pleasing Spielberg moments, plenty of nods and knocks on Disney, and some good licensed tunes courtesy of the guy who made dozens of kids hum to the tune of Deo after watching Beetlejuice. As far as this film goes, I do think it did set the standard on how people watch DreamWorks films, myself included. Do I think the franchise has gone overboard with musicals, spin-offs, and sequels? A little. Therefore, when the sequels came out, they didn't meet my expectations, mostly going from mediocre to fair at best. And yeah, I'm one of those few people who felt Shrek 2 was not as good as the first film. Come at me. Shrek was the kind of movie that kids watched and felt special after watching it, almost as if they were being led on to a joke that only adults would get. Now that I'm an adult, I see it as filmmakers trying to make an animated film that wasn't just marketed for kids, but themselves as well. It has a great sense of humor and fun characters. It's most definitely getting a worth it rating in my book. So now that you know what my thoughts are on Shrek, I'm curious to know what your favorite DreamWorks animated film is. Comment and let me know. And as far as everybody's been telling me what my thoughts are on all those animated Shrek videos you find on YouTube where he's doing all this weird and cryptic stuff, I don't mind them that much. However, say if you were the warden to a maximum security gulag and you wanted to use something to recondition your inmates? Not to say that I am that guy, but you know, food for thought. I'm Joey Tedesco, and thanks for watching this review on the Cartoon Palooza.